this is the title yang I plan to discuss lah. Digital tool to improve ruminant feed efficiency. Why? Nanti kita akan bincang. Kita akan juga recap what kita dah kita discuss last session. So I got a few slides of recap. Okay, this objective adalah just to show you macam mana kita bagi ruminant makan di sini dan juga how it's done worldwide. And then what are the constraints yang kita mengalami? Kenapa satu daripada isu adalah cost yang meningkat. Lepas tu, finally introduce some tools yang kita boleh guna untuk feed efficiently supaya production cost kita boleh menjadi rendah. Kenapa saya ingat tuan-tuan dah dengar in the last session. So this is a brief outline of the webinar. I won't take so much of time sebab masa tak banyak. So hopefully ada questions and kita boleh kongsi bersama. So why is ruminant important? Kalau kita lihat, I think I have shown you this before. Yang Malaysia kita dah almost reaching 6 kilo per person per head per year. Vietnam tengok dah overtake kita. So I think matter of time Malaysia also will increase because of increase in affluence, increase in income dan semua tu. Dan tapi if you look at what we are eating, mostly is imported. Nanti tunjuk the value, but one of the reasons about it is more imported lagi murah. Although the price has been going up, kita lihat price is going up almost 94%. Local pun going up. Kalau kita boleh move this very close, then our local production becomes sustainable dan kita boleh increase production. Seperti yang saya sebut dalam last webinar, when COVID comes, we realize that sometimes kita ada duit pun tak boleh beli makanan sebab logistik ada issue. Same thing with this is mutton, kambing sama juga. You can see the price is going up. Both going up, local dengan imported. So kalau kita boleh reduce this, and then we can sort of try to increase local production. Automatically increase because the demand will increase. Bukan sahaja pengeluaran ke demand. So I think saya dah tunjuk 26% of our makan is all imported. So you can see what is the impact on government punya country punya balance of trade. Sebab banyak kita kena beli daripada kita keluar sendiri instead of local produce and local economics. So and macam saya sebut tadi, the last time we import almost about 76% beef, 88% goat and sheep meat, and almost 40% milk. This milk is coming down with a lot of initiative by the government. So my estimation dalam maybe another 5 years we can reach almost 100% fresh milk. Kalau everything goes as planned. So kenapa? I think we already seen this before. The same old reason, whether you go back 30 years ke 40 years, kita ada masalah yang sama. Land, memang tak cukup land. High input cost, especially feed, and then labor. Labor jadi lagi penting, especially we saw this effect dalam masa COVID. And then there's always cheaper import. Kita boleh beli dengan harga yang murah, especially dari luar negara. And our production is not efficient. Right? And this is where the target is. Because these two, cheaper we cannot change. There will always be somebody producing cheaper. As long as we can compete with them, then kita boleh be competitive lah. High cost inputs are going up. Kita tengok jagung in the ruminant, non-ruminant, it's also going up over the time. Although it goes up and down, but it's going up. So whether like it or not, it's going to go up. So what we can control mostly is efficiency. So kita boleh buat ini to make sure that our local produce is efficient according to our local environment lah. So I choose this efficiency because this efficiency influenced by, I think I dah mention sebelum ni, bakar dengan environment. Environment of course kita based on temperature, feed, disease, all these things lah. Tapi these two things lah. And kenapa environment? I choose feed. I choose feed sebab feed dia contribute almost 70% kepada cost of production. So kalau kita target benda yang has the biggest influence and we can improve it efficiently, then kita can reduce cost of production. So most people will target feed worldwide, semua target feed. Bukan sebab senang dan susah kata sebab that is the major component, almost 70% according to this report lah, FAO report ini. So therefore we target feed. So kita lihat what is happening in our country, Malaysia. So kalau let's say we can reduce the feed cost by 70%, cost of production of feed is 70%, to reduce by 30%, we can bring down the production cost to almost 21 ringgit. And tengok the difference between imported and local become 3 ringgit compared to present 12 ringgit. So people will start to buy because more can afford at a slightly lower price. So this is where we can compete, and that's where the feed becomes important. So how do we reduce feed costs? We must be according to requirement. Tak boleh lebih, tak boleh rendah. Kalau lebih, you're wasting money. Kalau rendah, you're not getting what you're feeding. And then source cheap local ingredients. This is the biggest problem. We always import a lot of ingredients from overseas. But I'll show you what's happening next year. I think there's some changes which will, I think, will be good for the country. And then make sure we know what we are feeding. Kita kena tahu what the nutrient is in the ingredients, and also formulate dengan harga yang paling murah. And of course, there are a few options. You can use digital tools, commercial or paid, free or paid. And we can use simple spreadsheet method. Actually, here I'm going to demonstrate the simple spreadsheet method, which is the easiest to use. And siapa-siapa yang berminat masuk, I suggest you invest some time in learning these tools. They're not difficult. It's easy. I think can be done easily. And most Western farmers, they have very, very good knowledge on feeding because they know where the influence of feed is, influence of money and production. So they're very well knowledgeable on feeding. So how do we feed according to requirement? I put up 2 tables here. This is for human. Kalau kita ambil lelaki remaja about 90 years, he requires. So these are the major nutrients they require: energy, protein, minerals, vitamin, water. We concentrate on the major 2, energy and protein. Kalau kita lihat Malaysian human, they need about 9 megajoules and 62 grams protein. So we must make sure that we feed according to what they require. This is for goat. I give a sample kita banding human dengan animal lah. Goat ni kalau dia berat dia 20 kg dan we want to eat to go at 50 gram a day, it requires about 5 megajoules and 66 grams protein. Tengok, higher than human. So because it's growing at a higher rate. So where do we get the source from? I think human kita tahu lah. Carbohydrate from grain, fat from fat, also some energy, vitamins and minerals. Okay, where does the ruminant get their feed from? They get from forages, which is grass. They get from energy feeds. I think you all can go through this properly so you understand what to feed, and also protein feed. The only problem with ruminant is dia kena at least 30% dia kena datang dari forage. This is the biggest problem. So we must have forage ataupun rumput mana-mana dalam makanan ruminant. So this is the basic minimal requirement. So kalau kita lihat, so we must feed, for example, remaja about 19-20 years, we must feed this amount of energy, and kambing this amount of energy. So let's look at the human example. So we make sure that they all use sufficiently, that depend on requirement and supply. So jadi let's look at human example. So I took an example because I want people to see the comparison between human and animal. So as I sebut tadi, this is how to say, bukan highly technical, semi-technical, untuk menunjukkan how we can balance and reduce the feed. So let's say kita ambil sebuah makanan 2 jenis. One is local food and one is fast food. Remaja sekarang banyak suka makan fast food. So for example, local food dia makan breakfast nasi lemak. And then morning dia minum teh, makan kari pak dengan kopi. Lepas tu petang dia makan bun dengan kopi. Then lunch dia ambil ini biryani, nasi biryani. And then dinner dia makan nasi ayam. This is local food. Ada lagi seorang pula dia makan fast food breakfast, dia makan this is what, McMuffin. And then lunch dia tak ambil breakfast, dia tak ambil tea dengan evening tea dengan morning tea, dia just ambil lunch, Big Mac. And then dinner is what we call Mexican, with all the drinks and the fries. So we lihat this, we compare these two. One is local food, one is fast food. What is the nutrient supply? Cukup, tak cukup, and what is the cost? So these values are all available in the publication. So kalau kita ambil local food, remaja makan nasi lemak 1, kopi dia minum 1, kari pas 1, ni dia dapat tenaga as much as 7.26. Dengan protein 52 gram. Kos makanan sehari adalah 38 ringgit. Tetapi this thing tak cukup. Dia hanya supply 7 megajoule tetapi dia perlu 9 megajoule. Bermaksud kalau dia makan ni dia takkan gemuk lah. Sebab dia requirement is higher. Based on requirement lah. Sebab yang ni kita ambil for somebody who is active. Yang active male lah. So kalau kita lihat energy tak cukup. I didn't take in consideration fat and all this thing, tapi yang that one is also to be considered, tapi kita just ambil energy and footage is the main cost lah. So kita boleh, so kita lihat steady ringgit, kita boleh adjust so that dia dapat more energy. So the energy is balanced dengan protein balance. And then dia dapat makan, tapi cost dia meningkat RM6. So now the cost becomes RM44. So tapi dia meet energy requirement dengan protein requirement. It's in fact slightly more lah untuk protein. So tapi cost dia meningkat. So this is one method of feeding. Kalau kita ambil fast food pula, let's say dia makan seperti yang saya sebut tadi, all one, cost dia RM53, tapi his energy and protein is very high. Terlalu banyak. So it exceeds the requirement. So actually you're wasting energy, wasting protein, and wasting money. So yang ni kita boleh adjust. Let's say we adjust this. You can see this. When you get a slide, you can calculate yourself. Dia tak makan French fries, which is high in energy. So now he's almost there lah. Dia dapat cukup energy dengan cukup protein, and dia boleh jimat 150. So you see how the energy and protein and the feed works. So you can actually save. Tapi kalau kita banding dengan local dengan imported, memang this is more expensive. RM52 compared to RM44. So you see the type of feed kita bagi, the choice of feed makes a lot of difference in terms of cost of feed. So this is where precision feeding ataupun kita feed efficiently becomes important. So tapi the other important thing is what is the cost of the energy per unit. Di sini I just break down to show you. Energy cost is RM470 per megajoule, and this is 60 cents per gram protein. So this is important because kalau kita buat sistem digital, it based on the cost of the energy per unit. So for example, nasi biryani is RM5.60 per megajoule. Kalau banding dengan kaya ban, only RM2. So this is, you nampak, this is more of energy source compared to a protein source. It's cheaper. So the system bila kita bangunkan akan mengambil kira cost sebab animal production is a industry. Kita kena make money, kita kena compete, and we go back depending on importation. So this is another one. Kalau kita compare dengan fast food, you can see the energy cost is here lower. You see the local source food compared to imported food. Energy cost is lower dengan protein cost. So the same concept yang I show on the human, we will apply to animal. Okay, just give an example of poultry. Poultry itu pun dia guna yang sama. They make sure that the ingredients dengan requirement meet the animal, that they formulate according to least cost. Dia ada banyak method lah, they formulate feed. And poultry ada banyak software, dia guna commercial software. So this is the requirement dia dah bagi dah, it's always there. Standard requirement including energy, protein, and so here is amino acids. So energy and protein. Energy is here. Protein is here. Protein is here 23% dengan 12 megajoule. And these are all the commercial software yang ada for poultry. The latest yang very popular is Braille. Before this, the format, most of it is still being, tapi dia mahal, it's not cheap. So if you want to use it, you perlu ada dana untuk poultry lah. So very specific poultry. So ruminant, kita pergi ruminant yang saya punya tujuan untuk hari ini. So bagaimana kita rumus memenuhi keperluan return dengan cost yang rendah. Yang penting is cost yang rendah. Kalau kita kurangkan cost, dan kita punya produk akan jadi rendah cost. So kalau kita lihat di Malaysia, how they feed ruminant, dia tiga method lah, tiga common method. Dia beli concentrate, usually more than RM1 per kilo, dan dia juga beli forage. This is the most expensive option. Jadi cost dia akan meningkat. Satu lagi is dia buy the concentrate and dia source sendiri atau dia grow the own forage. Ini lower cost lah. Tapi the lowest is kalau kita source sendiri, kita mix sendiri, and kita feed sendiri. Macam mana kita nak buat yang ni? You need these three major components. You need animal requirement, data, lepas tu data bahan makanan, dan lepas tu the matrix of how you mix these two to make this. So nanti kita tunjuk sedikit lah macam mana kita nak buat. Of course nampak sedikit technical. So this requirement saya tulis tadi, ini sebab 5 megajoule dengan 66 gram protein. And these are the sources. I just want to show the first example di mana penternak beli concentrate, lepas tu bagi forage dia source sendiri lah. So saya bagi contoh dua concentrate. Concentrate A, I go with detail. Concentrate A is 50 kilo, both 50 kilos. Yang ni harga dia 46 kilos, 46 ringgit for 50 kilos. Yang ni harga lagi mahal. So mana satu dia nak pilih? So how do you do this? So you can do by using a system to calculate to make sure which is efficient, ataupun kadang-kadang farmer beli yang murah, dia ingat is efficient. I'm going to show you which is which. So for example, kalau kita break down in terms of kandungan protein, the other problem I want to highlight is kadang-kadang local feed ni dia tak bagi value of energy. This feed bagi energy, this feed tak bagi energy. So bila dia tak bagi, it's very difficult for a farmer, entrepreneur kalau dia nak kira sendiri, because you don't know how much is in the feed. So I think it will be good kalau kita masukkan at least energy and protein, and the rest of course can go in lah. Because putting in what we call fiber doesn't make much calculation what we call value. So sini harga adalah RM4.6. Kalau kita convert to per kilo, concentrate A cost 90 cents. Concentrate B cost RM1.45. Sebab dia RM72 untuk 20 kilo. So kalau saya ambil in terms of protein alone, because I cannot compare energy sebab dia tak bagi energy dengan concentrate A. Kita tengok cost protein, walaupun concentrate B the cost is 145 per kilo, cost protein dia hanya RM5 kalau banding concentrate B. Sebab kandungan protein dia tinggi, 26% banding dengan 12%. So oleh kerana harga tinggi tidak bermaksud bukan ekonomi. So kita perlu ambil cost nutrient, bukan saja just cost concentrate, tapi cost nutrient. So that one will influence the cost of production eventually. Dan ini I just show how to calculate. Siapa yang berminat boleh calculate based on requirement for 20 kg kambing. Kalau saya guna, so I cannot calculate tenaga sebab concentrate A tak bagi nilai tenaga. I just based on protein. So kalau I guna for the requirement, these are all some factors I think which I don't think will go too technical lah. The only thing is dia bagi 30% which is forage, which is napier with all the various what you call value. Concentrate A walaupun cost dia is 90 cents, harga makanan sehari is 54 cents. Concentrate B walaupun cost dia 145, tapi sebab saya boleh bagi rendah untuk memenuhi keperluan, my cost is 10 cents cheaper. So kita nampak how actually we can actually reduce the cost just by looking at nutrition content and make sure we feed according to requirement. So this is one method yang peternak or whoever entrepreneur boleh guna to see how efficiently dia boleh bagi makanan. And of course this value will change according to berat badan dan berapa banyak kita nak dia untuk pembesaran. And to do this, of course, kalau kita nak rumus makanan sendiri, dia ada banyak sistem komersial, dia ada tapi semua kena bayar lah. Nombor satu, nombor dua, bila kita guna all this system, dia kena ada database makanan, which is all system guna database makanan luar negara, tak sama dengan di Malaysia, kecuali poultry memang dia sama kalau banding dengan luar negara sama. Ini energy dia ada yang guna corn ataupun wheat, kita guna corn, so sama. So there's no problem adapting dia punya software kita punya environment, tetapi ruminant ni we have to choose. We use a lot of PKE, we use a lot of byproduct, so tak sama. Tapi it involves cost. So of course there are some yang free, saya dah highlight sebelum ni dekat Mardi, so cuma we have to go a bit and learn sedikit lah. Yang saya nak tunjuk is what we can do in a spreadsheet. These are the basic requirements. Ini 3 komponen. Data ternakan, keperluan. This is data ternakan, this is keperluan. Bahan makanan dan cost, I have this database. This is the database yang penting, where it shows the basic energy protein dengan cost. Kalau kita lihat lagi, saya letak PKE. PKE merupakan bahan yang tempatan yang banyak di Malaysia, banyak digunakan dalam langsung Ruminant 60 cents. So yang ini kita kena ada dan kita boleh tukar mengikut harga kita sebab ini berbeza. PKE dekat Johor mungkin berbeza dengan Kedah sebab tak ada sumber dengan logistik. Yang lain pun ada, ini semua kira by-product. Saya pun masukkan code palette. Tuan tengok sini ya. Ini this is the two A and B ya, yang concentrate. Of course, then we have that matrix campuran. Ya. This is how we mix. Mix dan didapat. So siapa-siapa yang berminat untuk learn this in detail, I think we probably have to go to different sort of training lah. So kalau saya buat yang sistem ni, ini saya boncos sendiri, saya dapat 37 cents. So tuan-tuan lihat yang kalau saya beli commercial, I have to feed at least cheapest is 44 cents ataupun 54 cents. Tapi I can mix 37 cents. So you see tempat cost saving. This is the advantage of doing sendiri lah. Kita can save duit. Nombor satu, kita boleh we know what we are feeding kalau compared to kita feed commercial concentrate. Sebab kadang-kadang we don't know what's in the ingredient. Cuma this one we have all the database ini ada. Saya ingat JPB ada publish a book. Tetapi you also can send samples to some lab. Kadang-kadang dia buat free ya, and you can get all the values. So the idea is to create next generation of farmer yang dah lebih fasih dalam pemberian makanan Ruminant menggunakan sistem digital. Kalau you nak kira ini by hand, I think it's very digital. Kita boleh buat pakai simultaneous equation. Bisa belajar semasa kita tingkatan 5, tetapi it's very digital. And especially kalau nak buat least cost, memang it's not possible using a manual method. So we have to use some optimization, linear gradient, and all this sort of yang dah ada dalam sistem, so you tak perlu worry. This is done in Excel, so it's not a complicated thing. Can also be done in Google Sheets. So tidak semestinya you must buy the software to do. You can actually use free software to do. Cuma kita kena invest some time to learn how it's done. But that will be a different aspect. I just want to show macam mana we can actually save cost. That is a major thing. So ada juga tanya, kenapa kita tak boleh bagi forage saja? Why overseas dia orang semua bagi forage, no problem. Kita nak bagi forage, problem. So I just give you a simple calculation. Napier kita punya energy, dia punya energy is 5.5 megajoule. Dan animal ni bila dia makan, dia ada limit, dia makan lebih. Dia makan only about 0.6 kg based on limit intake. So kalau kita count how much dia boleh makan dengan energi yang ada pada Napier, dia hanya dapat 3.3 megajoule. Tetapi keperluan dia adalah 5.16. So tak nampak kenapa kalau kita bagi rumput saja memang tenakan tak akan meningkatkan prestasi, tak akan. So kita terpaksa bagi concentrate. That is the reason why we limit to 30% ataupun kita boleh go higher depending on. So the system yang saya tunjuk tadi you can actually change. You can set, for example, I set here at 30%. I set here at 30%. Forage. 25%. So you can set higher, you can set lower, tetapi they must meet the requirement. So kita banding dengan luar negara, dia orang ada alfalfa. Alfalfa is one of the very high quality forage. Energy very high, protein very high. Kalau dia bagi kambing yang saya sebut tadi makan alfalfa, almost 95% of energy can be supplied by the forage. So you only require about small percentage of concentrate. So that is a problem. Kita kena bagi concentrate sebab kita punya forage cannot meet the requirement of the animal sebab kualiti dia tinggi. And we cannot grow alfalfa di sini, won't grow very well. Maybe 2-3 years dia akan, because dia ada, kalau we go back into science, dia ada C3, C4 punya type of plant. Dia tak sama. Tetapi kalau kita nak beli alfalfa, it's very expensive. If I'm not mistaken, it's about RM2.40 per kilo. So which is it's cheaper to buy corn and soybean instead of alfalfa. So di sana memang dia boleh tanam dan dia kena bagi makan, so it's cheaper for them. So you see the constraint sekarang, kenapa kita punya cost tinggi, sebab kita tak ada pilihan. Kita di tropika, dia orang di temperate, boleh grow alfalfa, so kita terpaksa guna sumber-sumber lain lah. Dan kita ada sumber yang murah, PKE is cheap, produce locally, so kita kalau boleh try to use all the local resources and feed efficiently. The key point is feed efficiently dan precise feeding. Itu yang very important. So saya tunjuk di sini ya. For example, it is all based on the cost of the nutrient, bukan just nutrient content. So kalau contoh, kalau let's say, just want to show sini Napier. Napier kalau saya beli dengan 15 sen sekilo, protein cost saya jadi 8 ringgit. Cost tenaga adalah 3 sen. Tapi kalau Napier yang sama, saya kena beli dengan 40 sen dengan cost protein 21 sen. Lebih baik saya beli soybean, harga dia hanya 5. So, tuan nampak, although we say we have local resources, tapi dari segi value of nutrients per unit dollar atau ringgit, dia berbeza. So, sebab tu kita kena corn merupakan sumber tenaga, soybean merupakan sumber protein. Sebab tu kalau kita lihat dari segi tenaga, corn is the cheapest because only 9 cents sebab energy source. So kalau saya nak guna Napier, memang dia murah untuk energy, tetapi bila saya pergi Napier, protein saya tak cukup pula. So you see the balance, kita kena balance dua-dua sekali. Kalau tidak, we will have enough energy tapi tak cukup protein, ataupun too much protein tak cukup tenaga. Or we can use grass tapi cost dia akan meningkat because the cost is so high. So there is a balance between cost, between nutrient and what the ingredient can supply. And I'm almost ending my slide, then we can go for question time or anything like that. So the next thing I want to talk about is, if you look at RM budget 22, there's one section saya ingat is very exciting, is program bantuan insentif makanan ternakan ruminant melalui skim harga bersubsidi dedak disurun. So sekarang kalau kita lihat PKE ini harga dia lebih kurang is about 60 cents, 60 sampai 70 cents. So kalau dia boleh reduce cost, I think one time they're talking about 45 cents per kilo, means 450 ringgit per ton. Then you can see how much kita boleh jimat dari segi cost kita. So this is one initiative. I think next year this should actually jumpstart dengan kickstart the ruminant industry sebab our cost of feed will go down. So kalau kita lihat, if I put in PKE at 45 cents, my cost of energy becomes 4 cents, much lower than corn. So saya tak perlu masuk corn, tak perlu masuk tak perlu masuk, saya boleh masuk PKE. Tetapi ada limit dia lah. So tapi because of the cost drop, saya boleh masukkan dan boleh mendapat a little bit more reduced production cost. I took this from this article. Of course, I'm sure the agricultural ministry ada more detail. So kalau I use this PKE at 450 per ton, saya punya anggaran 450, I don't know how much subsidy is, tapi kalau 450 banding dengan 60 cents, tadi I tunjuk 37 cents, I can reduce another 6 cents jadi 31 cents. So kita nampak cost sekarang jadi lagi rendah, and then my cost of product will be cheaper sebab saya boleh jual dengan harga yang murah. Kenapa saya tulis PKE? Sebab saya lihat PKE is the biggest component in the feed, almost 60%. So the same strategy, I tackle the ingredient which is the most used. I tackle the component yang influence the cost of production, which is feed, and then try to play with the cost. So dengan ni I dapat reduce all this cost, dan I think we can become more competitive with this. And this is kalau this go down further, I think we're going to have a better industry. This is what you're looking for actually. Something yang kita boleh control the price because it's locally produced. Corn dengan soybean kita kena control because it's all from overseas, controlled by global commodity market. Kalau yang ni, I think it's very good. It's a good initiative. So I hope everybody take advantage. The only thing is, I hope feed mill pun akan ambil initiative yang sama. Dia akan kurangkan cost. Tapi kalau entrepreneur boleh buat sendiri, I think we can actually learn to do all this thing on your own. Because PKE pun ada different quality. Dia punya energy protein pun berbeza. Here I put 4, ada yang ada 5. So dia ada berbeza. So we have to kalau you dah know how to use it, I think you can play with it and feed efficiently. And so I dah come to conclusion in terms of hopefully there's some time for question. I hope to get more questions.
Yep.
Selalu
Thank you so much. Pada masa sama juga, sebelum conclusion tu, siapa yang ada soalan, so please free untuk tanya terus, sebab saya ada baca juga beberapa soalan dekat sini. Tapi pada sahabat saya harap semua orang boleh simpan juga soalan, dan maksudnya tulis lagi kalau you ada apa yang tak sure lah. Dan just satu soalan je daripada saya juga, Dr. Shan. So kita looking forward pada different punya matrix ataupun different punya komponen, dan you dah fokus kepada itu very specific punya komponen macam PKE, the biggest factor dalam energy consumption, energy untuk produce dan sebagainya. Tapi bila kita looking forward pada this, kan dia punya data tu macam ada sikit sana sikit sini. So dia problem ialah dengan satu, of course lah, salah satunya kita boleh buat sendiri dia punya feeding punya kira material lah, so-called lah material. Tapi pada sama juga bukankah susah kalau macam kalau kita baru, sebab kita nak cari supplier yang mana macam mana sekarang ni. So itu dia punya challenge juga. So apa pandangan Dr. Shan?
Okay, pandangan saya kalau you are producing, kalau you simpan a big number of animals, then it's cheaper kalau kita mix on your own. Compared to kalau you ada very few animals. Few animals memang sebab bila kita beli runcit, cost is higher. Silakan. Sorry, teruskan. Macam farm fresh semua tu dia mix sendiri, kita tak beli. Sebab it's much efficient and dia boleh play with the nutrients. For example, certain requirement dia perlu high energy, high protein, tapi kalau kita beli commercial, it is fixed. Dia takkan buat specifically untuk certain farm unless macam poultry lah. Poultry dia integrated all the way lah. So dia mainstream.
Maksudnya totally fokus pada you punya business size, lepas tu macam mana impact pada total business punya cost of operation lah. Very good. So jadi maksudnya lah, satu kita boleh play around dengan formulation tu. Nombor dua ialah depend on business size. Maksudnya lah kalau you of course you business size besar, you of course you nak cari cost lebih rendah pasal you nak produce more. Dan pada saya juga dia available lah. Sebab tu dalam malam ni lah untuk you guys, untuk semua orang termasuk dekat rakan di Facebook kita, inilah one sort of digital tools yang macam Dr. Shan mention beberapa kali susah nak buat satu-satu, so you kena ada digital tools untuk you faham macam mana combination dan seperti itu. Okay, back to you Dr. Shan.
Okay, so saya dah masuk conclusion. I hope I mean saya punya idea is we want to generate more discussion lah sebab to make the people understand. So bagi saya the only way to increase production is objective measure dan reduce production cost is to use digital tools. Kalau tidak, I think it's very difficult. And yang saya tunjuk is a simple spreadsheet base. Of course, kalau nak beli commercial boleh, cuma whether it's worth the money, I tak tahu lah.
Okay, so saya tak sure apa berlaku pada line Dr. Shan, tapi pada sahabat bagi siapa yang nak tu, saya dah bagikan link untuk Facebook, itu recording kat situ. Dan pada siapa yang nak dapat iaitu download notes malam ni atau webinar punya tu malam ni, you boleh pergi kepada Agro-Food, wayup.my/Agro-Food, saya dah bagi link. Sementara Dr. Shan back online, so ada few question I have pick up daripada kita punya session today daripada Fuad ialah, is flavor a value added component? Good question juga, flavor kan. Dia tak makan ke apa cerita kan? Buat bagus-bagus nutrien tapi mak tak makan. Very good Fuad, Cik Fuad punya idea. Dan pada sama juga ialah ada a few question lain juga. Kadang-kadang tak terfikir pasal flavor. Kita fikir human being je nak flavor, tapi kita lupa yang animals juga tak flavor kan. Dan pada sahabat juga ada yang tanya lah isu land. Land been addressed by Dr. Shan sebenarnya last time dalam webinar untuk pengetahuan you. Antara keperluan juga land salah satunya, tapi of course lah itu pengurusan yang melibatkan banyak, boleh katalah banyak pengurusan lah sebab dia terlibat dalam kita. So Dr. Shan akan masuk semula untuk reply back to your question. Daripada sahabat you boleh terus boost, you boleh terus jot down ataupun you terus type dalam chat box ataupun dalam kita punya Q&A box. So saya akan pick up, dan termasuk juga yang berada di iaitu YouTube. Okay, so ada yang thank you Zainal, thank you Fatimah. Wah, Fatimah ada kat situ. Thank you juga lepas tu yang lain-lain tu, thank you so much. So please juga klik like pada iaitu Agro-Food Nexus. Ada kat situ kalau nampak Agro-Food Nexus, tolong klik like dan juga share kerana ini akan bawa you kepada long term. In fact, kalau kita tengok dari segi fokus kepada combination tersebut, dia give kita some idea. Pada saya lah, Dr. Chan talking about knowledge is power, sebelum pada knowledge juga ialah kita kena ada some sort of awareness. So awareness ni kita kena panggil field of expert lah. Maksudnya mereka subject matters yang bagi kita awareness, which yang you patut particular focus, dan dia akan save a lot of time. Sebab time juga equal pada cost. Jadi pada saya lah, saya berpendapat ini satu benda yang agak bagus untuk kita juga bring back. Even daripada benda tu juga, daripada calculation tu juga, saya pun realise ialah sama juga sebab satu perkara yang menarik Dr. Shan share tadi ialah dia letak human being dengan animal. Bila saya tengok tu dari segi cost effective sebagainya sampai, maksudnya lah sebenarnya analysis tu lah ataupun method untuk menilai sangat penting sebenarnya. Okay? Untuk menilai. Alright, so Dr. Shan ada few question. Salah satu ialah yang tanyakan pasal flavor pada you punya komponen dalam ingredient untuk feeding punya untuk feed lah adakah flavor dia main peranan? Is it added component dia is a value untuk flavor? Satu. Nombor dua ialah pasal isu output. Dia kata ialah problem output ialah according to Faisal, dia kata we haven't addressed the land shortage. Tapi pada sahabat dia kata there are ways to produce forage in smaller plot for big yield. Maksudnya ada juga teknologi lah. Tapi kita nak jawab pada soalan yang salah satunya lah, apakah flavor ni dia bagi value added pada ingredient ni, Dr. Shan, selain daripada benda-benda tadi. Contohnya ada tak mungkin animal yang tak nak makan lah, tak sedap. Contoh. Okay. Alright, silakan Dr. Shan.
Okay. Sorry, tadi saya ada power cut. Sebab tu hilang tadi. So I don't know what happened suddenly. Okay, anyway. Okay, I got another interesting question. Nanti saya jawab question tu. Okay. Flavor ni dua. One is kalau animal makan tak makan. Tapi ingredient yang kita pilih, I think we choose ingredient yang animal akan makan. Satu lagi komponen yang saya didn't go into is certain betul forages macam petai belalang, all these things ada anti-nutrient factor yang lembu akan makan tapi dia ada masalah nanti. So these are things that you have to be careful lah. So kalau kita go into more detail, I think must know something about how to feed them efficiently lah. Satu. Number dua is value added meat. Satu lagi aspek yang lain. You're talking about high unsaturated fatty acid punya component. That is different ball game altogether lah. Macam YUB. How do you feed that is different. Bukan sama seperti yang kita bagi makan. This one I'm talking about is mostly the general production to try to increase this thing. Okay, Encik Azrul, can I address one question? There is a soalan which says, why do we keep opening the old book?
Yeah, please.
R&D.
Yep.
This is very interesting question. Okay.
Yep.
Why do you open the old book? Because the problem is still the same. Whether we like it or not, after 20, 30, 40, 50 years, the problem is still the same. So we cannot change to a new book because the problem is the same. Same thing I can address. I'm telling you about poultry. The poultry, the problem is still corn. If there are 40 years, it is still corn. So we cannot close the book because it is still the same problem. R&D can solve to a certain extent, tapi the basic thing is still there lah, you know. Contoh macam corn, if I can share a bit, kita dah cuba tanam, I think almost 44 cycles. Every 10 years kita try, sampai sekarang I think we are still there. But it is the same problem. So we cannot say that, you know, it is an old book, but that is the major problem. Tomorrow, let's say kita import almost, I think 4 million metric tons of corn. Let's say tomorrow tak ada corn. Imagine what happened to the poultry industry. So you see how volatile it is. So that is the biggest challenge. Tapi sampai sekarang kita cannot produce efficiently locally. But if let's say the price goes up to maybe 2 ringgit, then it will become efficient locally. So we have to change the story, how to do things. So this is a big, how to say, I think you understand lah, bukan senang to just say, we can do something else. The problem is the same, and we have to find solution for it. So these are the solutions that are available that we can do it efficiently.
Ya lah, in other words, mungkin I boleh rephrase balik daripada layman pada saya lah. Saya kata ialah sebab the root of cost tu dekat situ. Jadi pada masa sama juga ialah kita nak protect pada futures kita. Apa problem lah kalau kita tak solve sekarang, future akan macam lastly lah kita akan obsolete satu benda So industri akan musnah. So basically kita talking about sustaining and juga protecting sebenarnya. Jadi saya nampak angle kat situ lah. So dan root adalah nature tu ialah root problem ialah datang daripada jelaslah daripada satu benda masalah yang sama, dan eventually it may take time, tapi somehow kita patut juga selalu bincang selain juga mencari jalan lain lah. Itu saya punya layman punya bahasa lah. Dan last question. Ini menarik daripada Usup, dia tanya dekat Facebook, dia tanya Dr. Shan, dia tanya, ekstrak protein daripada tumbuhan boleh bagi tak kepada haiwan sebagai makanan tambahan? Ekstrak protein daripada tumbuhan. Protein extraction from the plants lah. Alright.
Yes. Okay, ada tumbuhan yang tinggi protein, ada tumbuhan yang rendah protein. Tumbuhan tinggi protein is mostly legume lah. Macam peta belalang, all thing, legume is tinggi protein. But everything boils down to cost. Kalau saya boleh ekstrak protein dengan harga yang rendah, then yes, by all means. For example, I beli, let's say I beli, what's the protein source? Let's say I beli soybean, RM2.40, 1 kilo, fresh. You can extract and give me protein powder at RM2.40, I'll buy. Tapi kalau you give me at RM5, I rather pay $2.40, I get the same effect. So everything boils down to cost. That's why yang bila kita guna spreadsheet, dia will actually calculate for you at the least cost. And so that we can become more efficient. Kalau kita lihat most farmers, dia pergi potong rumput di tepi jalan. So that cuts down his cost. Mungkin dia tak boleh beli rumput. Tetapi the other what they call downside is dia punya nutrient value is not consistent. Mungkin hari ini pokok lain, so dia tak boleh buat a proper system untuk bagi makanan. So that's so yes, bagus, tetapi everything is cost. Kalau tidak, there's no business.
Sebab
for example, they say can feed moringa. Moringa, I think you heard moringa.
Moringa, yeah.
Yeah, so moringa is good, very good. Tetapi I can sell to human for RM8 a kilo. So why would I feed animal? Animal dia nak sumber yang murah. So basically kalau kita lihat dua negara, dia guna sumber yang tidak diguna untuk manusia. Kalau dia is competing with human, then they want this because it's bukan cost effective. So basically is price lah, more than the price.
Alright, so thank you so much. So last question mungkin kita ambil daripada Encik Zakaria. How nutritious is sorghum? Kalau saya cakap bahasa betul lah, sorghum, sorghum as a food source compared to Napier, Napier, Napier.
Oh yes, sorghum is much better than Napier. Sorghum is a grain. So grain. Kalau you talk about sorghum forage, yes, it's much higher nutrient. So sebab tu bila I show you the komposisi bahan, that is where the key is. Kalau dia punya composition is tinggi dengan harga yang murah, especially cost per unit of nutrient. For example, a kilogram of protein, cost per kilogram of protein, that will tell you whether it's cheap. Tapi sorghum, yes, it's much better in terms of compared to Napier. Tapi sorghum pun ada problem tanam di sini, bukan senang. It's all temperate crops. Dia tak boleh tahan di Malaysia punya environment. So I hope.
Alright, so yep.
I did message. Depart some messages everyone, and we learn something. But feel free to comment, to do anything, because I think this is kita going towards a future where we have to grow our own food. We cannot be depending on import again. So I think pandangan dari semua orang dan challenges is good for the industry dan promote the industry further.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you so much. Bagi tepukan untuk Dr. Shan. Give a hand, bagi tepukan sikit, tepukan panjang sikit, sikit. Alright, so antara benda yang saya tulis kat kita looking for the future isu sustaining and juga segi protection. Dan salah satu Dr. Shan yang sangat highlight pada kita ialah mengenai isu ialah kita nak kena pandai buat makanan sendiri. Saya ingat lagi last presentation daripada Dr. Shan ialah kesan daripada pandemik. So pandemik memang banyak betul kesan impact pada ekonomi, dan paling teruk ialah pada supply chains lah dalam kita punya ekosistem, khususnya dalam ruminant punya industri. So jadi itu antara benda yang saya sendiri pun jadi tersedar lah. Jadi tersedar, in fact mungkin ada ignorance ataupun some neglection dalam satu benda pasal kita fokus kita punya field. Tapi satu sudut ialah, satu dia create opportunity pada you guys yang memang dalam bidang ni Nombor 2, di create understanding pasal you ada very specific expert untuk fokus kepada apa masalah yang bakal berlaku ataupun dia boleh create dari segi based on data lepas kan, macam mana untuk predict ataupun untuk sustain in the future. Dan nombor 3 ialah kita kena keep benda ni always in mind. Pasal really important untuk ada repetition in mind dan kita ada fokus yang tentu. Okay? Thank you so much. So pada yang hadir dan untuk pengetahuan you, siapa yang nak slide, saya perhatikan di Agro-Food ni, dia punya tu, dia tersusun guys. Okay, saya share pada you. Saya share pada you ialah sedikit di sini, ialah tersusun dia punya details, di mana you boleh tengok di sini kan. Ada reference tu, ada title, ada download link, ada external link. So you boleh download semua ni dari segi webinar-webinar lepas. This is for me, it's a beautiful, well presented punya. Of course lah, you boleh dapat data dari sini. So based on data untuk malam ni, you akan juga boleh dapat di sini. So pergi, saya akan copy link untuk you dan juga you boleh ambil daripada sini untuk you punya reference. Alright, so thank you so much guys. Terima kasih banyak-banyak kerana bersama saya dan juga Dr. Shan. Okay, bagi tepukan untuk Dr. Shan, type tepuk sikit lah. Give a moral support sikit. Alright, bagi tepukan. Give type tepuk ataupun clap. Type tepuk ataupun clap. Dan kita akan jumpa lagi untuk sesi akan datang. Okay, thank you so much. So, jumpa lagi. Dan yes, Amirul, awesome. Alright, Inodra, awesome. Alright, thank you so much, Fairuz. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Anwar, Fuad, Firdaus, Faisal. Dr. Muria, thank you so much for having us tonight, having Dr. Shan, and thank you so much for Agro-Food. Abdul Rahim, Taufik. Hope you have a big moment juga. You understand when ni mana you nak fokus. Dan fokus pada macam mana nak develop ataupun grow untuk sustaining dan juga untuk future punya protection. Alright, jumpa lagi. Salam hormat dan thank you so much. Dan jumpa untuk session seterusnya. Dan slowkan sikit Okay, kita akan jumpa seterusnya untuk pada sesi pada 12 November. So bagi yang berminat, pastikan you ajak kawan-kawan. Okay, pastikan you ajak kawan-kawan untuk join pada 12 November 2021 pada Friday at 30 PM. Data collection. This is really important topic pasal ini akan ada dia punya consequence daripada apa yang kita dah learn pada malam ni. Dan macam mana untuk get into the further actions. Data collection and data mining to improve ruminant productivity pada 12 November 2021 Friday 8.30 8:30 PM. Alright, jumpa lagi. Thank you so much dan terima kasih Zainuddin. Boleh juga hubungi Dr. Shan Zainuddin, kesan penggunaan pelepah kelapa sawit. Really sorry sebab I baru nampak you punya soalan. Dan pasal buka ialah kita akan jumpa untuk say thank you so much. Yap. Apa made me to get clear picture about sorghum forage. Yap, sure. Salah satu juga sebab Cik Faisal, apa yang kita buat di sini juga ialah untuk bekerjasama. That's a good way. Sebab Faisal juga Cik Faisal juga open pada on this. This is how kita build kita punya sistem ataupun kita build kita punya so-called ialah fokus kita untuk membolehkan kita sama-sama itu bekerjasama untuk cari find a way out kan. Macam cerita tadi lah ada sebut pasal kenapa kita nak buka old book pada sahabat, mungkin juga Cik Faisal kata this is how kita boleh moving forward. Thank you so much. Terima kasih daripada saya dan juga daripada Agro-Food Productivity Webinar, dan thank you so much untuk hadir malam ni, sangat appreciate. Dan jumpa lagi dan jumpa pada 12 November dan terima kasih banyak-banyak dan Assalamualaikum dan salam saja, all the best semua dan jumpa lagi.